Today we're going to go over some Khris Middleton mid-post highlights. I think he does a very good job of creating space while not being the most athletic guard, obviously. So I'll let this clip run through and then we'll go over it. All right. So first off, is Jeff Green guarding him? So Jeff Green's obviously a bigger defender, a longer defender. So when I've been watching Khris Middleton, right? First of all, let's see how as soon as he catches the ball, let's see what kind of pivot. So he's holding off his defender. He's taking a little step to the ball, right? He's not going outside pivot and facing up, right? Keeping this left foot down and bringing that right foot around to the left side, because that would allow Jeff Green to crowd him. When he opens up with an inside pivot like this, right? Let's say Jeff Green is pressed up, or let's say he has a little bit of space. Jeff Green is really pressed up, so it'd be hard for Khris Middleton to rip all the way through. But if Jeff Green is one step further back, right? But Khris Middleton's opening like this, he can an inside pivot. He can slowly open up and then just drive by him right here, right? But Jeff Green jumps to the outside, jumps to the baseline. He's forcing him middle. He wants the help, forcing him to his left hand, right? Look how low Khris Middleton is, right? When you have a long defender with long arms, keeping the ball low, not keeping it high. He jabs, gives Jeff Green to give up a little bit of space. Jabs again, a little slight jab, presses off the back foot, and goes to the middle. Speed it up a little bit. He gets to the middle, creates contact. Now he's in his back down game, mid post back down, right? Takes a dribble, fakes baseline. Look at his head when he fakes. Might be hard to see with the quality, but he's faking his head, right? He's showing that he's trying to convince Jeff Green that he's about to turn baseline. Jeff Green bites a little bit. And look at Khris Middleton. This is something important for any guard that is in the mid post, looking to fade, looking to just, in general, shoot jumpers like these. Look what Khris Middleton does with the ball as soon as he's turning back around. He faces back up over his right shoulder and he moves the ball to the outside. Can you see it? Slowly. He's not bringing it straight up, right? He's not bringing it on his right thigh, because Jeff Green could swipe at it. He's keeping it away. He's taking that step backwards, facing up in the air, and finishing the jumper. We got the next clip on Tobias Harris guarding him, another bigger defender. Let's see how he attacks this. All right. First of all, right, let's see how Khris Middleton catches the ball. A lot of guys, you know, there's no right way to go about it, right? There's just different ways to go about it. And so something I noticed from Khris Middleton a lot is in a lot of, good scorers in the mid post, more face up jump shooting scorers in the mid post, are the fact that they go out to catch the ball. Look how he takes that step to the ball, right? Look at that extra space it creates. So, obviously it would be easier for Khris Middleton to just catch right here, keep his feet planted, keep this positioning, and Tobias just guard him. But when Khris Middleton takes that step out, right, forces Tobias to come further. And when he's coming further, boom, Khris Middleton immediately jabs, gets Tobias to jump a little bit. Immediately does that same reverse pivot, right? He's not pivoting to the outside. Not saying he doesn't do it, but he does it a lot because it allows for that rip, right? It forces this defender to have to guard that more so than you would an outside pivot if you were to pivot the other way. Khris Middleton immediately jabs, gets Tobias to jump a little bit, right? He jumped, boom. Now he's faced up, he's not in mercy. Pump fake, jab, right? Gets his hand up, he's jumping. Look at Tobias' feet. I'm attacking that baseline all day, right? He's giving him the middle, right? But anytime you can attack a defender's top foot, especially when the angle of their feet is at an angle like this, right? They're gonna have to open that foot up. He has to open that foot up. Look at the angle he takes. Khris Middleton immediately steps back. So if this was Tobias is a good defender. He's an NBA player, right? If this was any other defender, right? for the most, not any other defender, but most defenders, especially young college and high school defenders, right? A lot of them, he's taking that angle and he's going downhill. Boom, that pull up's gonna be there. So that's why Khris Middleton steps back, pump fakes, ball above his head. You can't sell it unless it looks like you're gonna shoot it. So get it above your head. Pump fakes, gets him in the air, tries to draw contact, doesn't, but still finishes. Now he has a smaller defender on him in Fred VanVleet. So we'll see how how he attacks this. Smaller defenders can obviously get under bigger guys on the ball, bigger offensive players. So sometimes it's hard for bigger players to attack these guys. So let's just watch this clip and then we'll go through. All right. So this is one where we see I can attack Fred VanVleet from that reverse pivot, that inside pivot is what I call it. So first of all, he catches the ball, inside pivot, not outside pivoting, right? Anytime you outside pivot, you give up space. So if he were to take this right foot and bring it around the top of his left foot and then square up, this would allow Fred VanVleet to press up into him, right? It's harder to stay lower. The inside pivot is just the more efficient pivot in general. So he faces up, immediately ball to hip. He's trying to create space, right? He's trying to get Fred VanVleet off him, create that little bit of space. If somebody's crowding you like this, you can't let them do that. They don't dictate what happens. The offensive player has to dictate what happens and how they're going to guard him, right? So look at Khris Middleton. Look at the ball. It never leaves his hip, right? The more you, even on those jabs, the more you move those balls, the more you risk it. You know, you put it out there for the defender to swipe at it and get a piece of it, right? So he's jabbing, uses his body, takes that step hard. Get Fred VanVleet to jump, right? He jumps. He's ripping low. Look at Fred's hand, right? If Fred had a dig hand and he was low, right? Fred had one hand down by his shins or his knees, waiting for this rip or a crossover, and he had the other hand up, trying to keep a hand in Khris Middleton's face to not let him make an easy pass or see the floor well. Then Khris Middleton could do a different type of rip through, sorry. But he sees Fred VanVleet's arms are high, so he rips under him. That's that rip. That's the inside pivot immediately to the rip, right? It just happened a little bit later that I've been talking about. He gets by him. He gets into the lane. So let's watch as he gets into the lane. Look what he does right here. You see how he's putting the ball up? All finishers, especially when you're going in with shot blockers, put the ball up early. The earlier you put it up and you go for the up and under, you put it up and you change it around. You maybe bring it to a hook shot, bring it to the outside of your body, or put it up, get them in the air, dump it off. You got to sell the shot. You got to, I always talk about it. It's the little things in the game, right? And this is something that, a lot of players don't do. And a lot of players could be better at showing the ball before they get in the lane. As they're approaching the lane, he shows it. Look at Scotty. He jumps early, right? Scotty's not like timing. He's not waiting for Khris Middleton to, Khris Middleton isn't telegraphing what he's going to do. He puts it up. It looks like he can shoot a floater from that position, but he doesn't. And he just goes up and under, gets under Scotty's arms, and finishes the layup. We got the next clip. Mid-range versus the Bulls. Alex Caruso guarding him. Let's see how it plays it, and then we'll run through it in slow motion. All right, so first of all, look how aggressive Alex Caruso is when he's trying to catch it, right? He's got to hold him off any type of way. So he gets the ball, catches it. His feet are planted on this one. His feet are planted. Look how Alex Caruso is just right there, right? That was what we were talking about in the Tobias Harris clip. When your feet are planted, it allows the defender just to get under you, get into you more. One thing I would take away from this clip, especially, is when you have a good defender crowding you. First of all, look how he protects the ball, right? I don't necessarily like this over the head, but as long as you get it off, it doesn't really matter what I like. So, Khris Middleton, he's crowded by Alex Caruso, right? Look what he does. He brings the ball to his hip, he gets low, and he steps in between his legs. Wide base, stepping in between his legs to get that space. He's dipping his shoulder into him, and he's pressing, right? He's trying to create space. The space gets Alex Caruso back. Boom. As soon as Alex Caruso gets back, look what he does. He swipes at the ball. We rip low. We get to the rim, right? So the key in this one is being able to create space, especially when a defender is crowding you. Being able to create space with a multitude of different pivots, um, using your body without fouling. He's not extending his arm. He's getting low. The ball's on his hip. His shoulders into the defender's chest. He's protecting the ball, squeezing it, right, and stepping in between his legs on that jab. Look, gets him jumping. As soon as he jumps, sails out, rips for it, bucket. Let's let this clip run through, then we'll go over it. All right. So, Khris Middleton gets out of the screen, sets the screen quick, right? Now they're looking for the switch. They want to attack Troy Brown Jr. So one thing I want us to notice about Khris Middleton is the stance, the positioning he plays out of oftentimes in the post, right? Of course, when you're up top, it's easier to play in this completely sideways stance, right? And the way, the way I look at it is, sorry about that. The way I look at it is that when somebody plays out of this stance, this allows them to go either way with the same amount of speed almost, right? Because if you're squared up, right, let's say his right foot's over here and he's facing, his chest is facing the basket. For you to go back left, you have to bring your foot all the way back from the right side of your body on over here to back to that direction, right? If you want to go right, of course, it's a lot quicker, but that's overcompensating for the right side drive. When you play out of this sideways stance, he can go either way. So he could take a step that way, which isn't as explosive, but when you're bigger and you can use your body and to create space, it doesn't matter as much. Or he could open up this way with this same distance, right? Halfway. This is halfway in between. So playing out of this sideways stance, he's reading the floor. He's watching to see how the defense is playing out, right? As soon as these guys go through, he's facing up, watching Troy. Opens up, jabs. Soon off, look how Troy's playing him. See this? See his foot high? There's been a theme with Khris Middleton in these clips that we've seen. Watch the defender's feet, right? The defenders, when their foot is high and they're favoring to one side, first of all, if you can get by that foot, they're done for, right? Because they're so high up the floor, they're so up to one side that they're going to have to open up completely. And when you open up completely, you're already, you're pretty much past them. You're in front of them. So now they're at your mercy, right? So Khris Middleton fakes on the jab. Let's see the jab. Brings the ball over, uses his head. This is something we've seen in all my clips. You go through all my clips. They're using their eyes, right? You got to be able to use your eyes to sell a move. You can't sell a move. You can't sell a move without using your eyes, but why not do what the pros are doing? He sells the move with his eyes, gets Troy to jump, takes that step down, and look at this. Boom. Creating that space, right? He's going into him, create that space, spin away. I love how he spins on this one, the shot, right? He's not spinning, straight to the middle, right? He's not spinning downhill. He's spinning and he's taking that step out. His angle is spin up the floor, right? Square up, balls on his hip, protect any swipe like we saw in one of the previous clips. He's protecting the ball, jumps off that right foot. Look, his right foot is planting. This right foot allows him to lean that much more when you jump off of it, right? You can jump off both feet, of course, and push yourself backwards. But when you're jumping off that right foot, you have to put all the pressure on that foot. So this automatically means that you are already more so to the right side. You are more so fading than if you were to jump off, the left foot, which would be much more difficult, or both feet, right? So he fades away from the defense because Troy's got some long arms. Bucket.